Welcome to Scream With Me with award-winning author D.W. Sauer. The content discussed in this story you're about to hear discusses potentially sensitive topics that include but are not limited to physical and substance abuse, addictions, paranormal and supernatural, extraterrestrial, mythological, and graphic violence that may be triggers to some. The goal of this podcast is to entertain and not cause harm. The author does not intend to undermine the struggles of people who have suffered or been a victim. Please stop listening when any parts of the story become too much. The author copyrights all episodes of Scream With Me and can be purchased in print. All rights reserved to author D.W. Sauer, and no parts of this production may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any forms by any means electronic, mechanical, transcribed, photocopied, screenshot, recorded, sampled, or other forms of reproduction without the written permission of the author, D.W. Sauer. The following story you're about to hear is a work of fiction. Some Scream With Me stories are inspired by local and national folklore. However, the characters and events are fictitious with the exception of verifiable historical events and locations. All incidences, descriptions, dialogue, and opinions are expressed products of the author's imagination and not to be construed as real. The Jersey Devil, Part 1. Greetings, fellow Corkonians, and welcome back to another episode of the Corky Files. I'm your host, JD, but you can call me Jay. In addition to broadcasting to your chosen device, I'm also streaming via the Corky Files, where you can ask questions and submit your feedback as we go. Now that the introduction is over, it is with great sadness that I report the passing of local spook show legend, Crazy Carl. Carl Clarkson was given the name Crazy Carl after claiming he had spotted Bigfoot in the late 70s and then again in 1982. From then on, he continued to see the infamous and elusive creature every other year. Why he never carried a camera is beyond me, but he never did. Carl also claimed to not only have seen aliens, but was abducted at least twice. He did confess that the third and fourth incidents could have been a dream. Carl started his radio show in the early 90s and kept all of us up to date on what he called all things weird and not of this earth. He inspired me to create this podcast, and so I say to Carl, wherever you may be, thank you for the inspiration. I hope you found the truth that you were always searching for. Now that all the emotional things are out of the way, I'd like to remind everyone that this is the year of the devil. In honor of the spirit of Carl, I'm going to read his notes from 1993. October 25th, 1993. I saw him. I saw the devil walking on my ride home. It was 9:43 p.m. and I just turned onto 2nd Street when I locked eyes with the devil himself. Its eyes were as red as a fire engine, and that black center was soul-piercing. It only lasted a second, and then he sprinted away. I gave chase, but he was fast, too fast for me. I will continue to patrol the streets to see what I can find. I hope to see the devil once more. October 26, 1993. I woke up this morning to hear that Timmy Robinson had disappeared in the middle of the night. He was just 14, and his parents said they last saw him at 10:30. He was staying up late to finish a project, and when his parents woke, Timmy was nowhere to be found. I've gathered all the information available, and there are no signs of foul play. All accounts point to him leaving on his own, but nothing can be verified. I did my patrol, and I couldn't find any sign of the beast lurking on our streets. Did poor Timmy satisfy its sick, twisted needs? October 27th, 1993. I heard the most chilling and blood-curdling scream in my life tonight. It was 10:30 when I heard this scream to end all screams. Just the thought of it causes a chill to run down my spine. I know of all the things that have happened to me in my life, that scream will be the one thing that haunts me forever. I rushed toward the sound as fast as I could. I turned onto Cleveland Avenue, and there it was. But it wasn't alone, and it was different this time. It was dragging a body in each arm, and I shouted, "Let them go!" It turned, and once more I saw those red eyes. This time it had horns protruding from its head. They were small, but they weren't there yesterday, and they were horns. The devil put the bodies up on his shoulders and ran off. I gave chase once more and saw it turn onto Carter's Alley. When I got there, the bodies were gone. It was as though it vanished in thin air. I went to the police station to file a report, but they laughed at me and proclaimed, "Crazy Carl strikes again." October 28th, 1993. I woke to the commotion of everyone scurrying about the street. A countywide search party has been called to look for the Moore twins, Amber and Tiffany. That's who it took last night. 3 kids in 3 nights is too much of a coincidence. I ran back to the police station and they took my report seriously. However, they didn't call it the devil. They said to be on the lookout for a man wearing different masks, one with horns and one without. I don't know why they didn't believe me. The records speak for themselves. The devil comes every 30 years and takes 7 kids. The county newspapers have the reports, but no one is paying attention. No one will listen to me. Despite not believing me, I still help look for the kids. October 29th, 1993. We searched for the kids well into the night, nothing. Not a single clue of where they went. The cops examined Carter's Alley, and there was nothing. The only good news is that no kids were taken last night. The bad news is that Scott Adams disappeared between 9 and 10:30. It's currently 11. I didn't do my patrol tonight. I failed Scott. October 30th, 1993. Tonight was the high school's Halloween dance, and 2 of the kids were on their way home, never made it. Nicole Fisher and Jeremy Parker left the dance but never made it to their respective homes. Jeremy's car was found in a ditch just off Route 780. It was 3 miles from Nicole's house. The conditions of the grass, dirt, and mud should have showed signs of them leaving the car, but not a trace of evidence of their exiting the vehicle was found. The cops and search dogs scoured the area and no body could be found. How could they exit the car without leaving a trace? How could the dogs not pick up a scent? I know the devil is responsible, but I don't know how he's doing this. I was in town doing my patrol when all this happened. We're now up to 6 kids. 1 day and 1 victim left. October 31st, 1993. The town was on high alert today. I was at the grocery and I heard many families planning on sleeping in the same room so that no one could vanish without knowing what happened. JJ's gun shop had a line that stretched for 2 blocks. I drove by later and saw he placed a sign stating 1 box of ammo per gun per customer. I made my patrol but saw nothing tonight. Not a shadow was out of place. Not those beady red eyes. However, I'm not surprised. Cops with community volunteers patrolled the streets with such efficiency that it would be hard to commit an act such as abduction. My theory is that since everyone is on such high alert, the devil is watching and plotting. I just pray that we can catch him or at least prevent another one of our youths from disappearing. November 1st, 1993. I got home too late to finish writing. I gave my reports to the officers, but once more, they didn't believe me. To be honest, I'm not even sure I believe myself. For hours I rode around court and nothing was happening, but something told me to check the cemetery. I'm not sure how to explain the feeling, but I knew I had to check. When I arrived at the front gate, the hairs on my neck stood up. I got the creepiest feeling that I've never gotten. Something wasn't right. I pulled out my flashlight from my bag and proceeded with caution. I kept walking until I got to the back gates, to Settler's Lot. My heart started to race, sweat started to pour from my face, and my hand shook as I opened the gate. It was undoubtedly the most scared I've ever been in my life. I entered and proceeded to creep further and further until I heard deep breaths. I turned my flashlight and slowly walked in that direction. I began to see a white glow outlining a mass. It was a body, but it was larger than what I've ever seen. It was like Andre the Giant big. I could see horns, not the nubs that I witnessed the other day. No, these were full-grown horns, like that of an adult ram. Suddenly the area lit up and I could see the bodies. Each one of the kids that were taken were lying on the ground. I gasped, and complete darkness returned. The devil turned to me, and I immediately ran. I must have fallen a dozen times before I got out of the cemetery, but I got out. When I brought the police back to Settler's Lot, we didn't find the devil or the children, but we found an outline of them. It was like their bodies were burned into the ground. I still don't know who the last victim was yet, but I'm sure I'll find out. Jay turned his head to the computer monitor and read, "Just in case I forget, ask." "Can we call you Crazy Jay now?" "That's a great question, and it would be an honor to be called that. I want everyone to know Just in Case I Forget is one of my best friends and also a jackass." Jay looked for the next question. Wondering Alice asked, "Why do you think Settler's Lot was where this happened?" That's a great question, and I believe it's because of the seclusion. The majority of our homes are town-centered and thus more areas to be spotted. Even on the edge of town, we have well-lit streets due to the streetlight statue of 1975 as a result of that fiery car crash that we had. We do have some back roads leading to farms and country, but for the most part, the cemetery is the prime location to take someone to. It's close to town, but not too far off where it's difficult to take someone. It closes before nightfall, lacks lighting past the main sidewalk, and then Settler's Lot is on the far edge of the cemetery. It has an old stone wall that raises 4 feet off the ground and woods that border the back side of it. It would be a perfect spot to commit atrocities. Great question, Wondering Alice. Big Tom asked, "Why are you bringing up this tragedy? They were our friends and family." First off, Big Tom, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm not trying to hurt anyone here, but hoping to remind my friends of what I believe awaits us this month. I firmly believe that this story is true and we need to be prepared. We have little time, and I urge everyone to place locators on their children's phones, place a tracking tag in their book bag, and keep an eye on your security cameras. I pray that I'm wrong, but I've done the research. I've read accounts since the first happenings. What happened in 1993 happened many times before. I think that's enough questions for today. So in the memory of Carl, stay safe and stay aware. This is Jay in the Corky Files signing off. Jay's phone immediately rang and he answered, "Crazy Jay." "Dude, why did you do all that?" Justin yelled. "All of what?" "The episode was so wrong. Those victims still have families here, and some of them are still messed up over it. I swear I didn't mean any harm by it, but I got this bad feeling. Something is telling me we're not safe. You hung out with Carl too much, dude. He's a legend, but that's not it. Do you know that feeling you get when you get called to the principal's office? You mean the feeling that your heart is falling into the pit of your stomach and hope cease to exist? It makes the hair stand up on your neck, and the thought of being haunted by a ghost is comforting compared to the thought she's called your mom? Exactly. That's what I'm feeling. Something just is telling me that this Jersey devil isn't a bedtime story. I think he's real, and he's coming for us. Thank you for listening to Scream With Me, and stay tuned for the next episode. Until then, you can stay up to date with following me on Instagram at DWSauer or at Polar Press Books. More information, including how to purchase my books, can be found at dwsauer.com or polarpressbooks.com.